What up, TikTok? Hey, hope everybody's having a great Friday. Hey, don't let anything that's negative in your life dictate the rest of your life. Does that make sense? Hey, we all go through some hard times. We all go through some emotional stressors, maybe at work, maybe at home, whatever it may be. Don't let that dictate who you are and how you react to the rest of the things that life throws at you. Does that make sense? Like if you're feeling pissed off and angry all morning or all day, you're going to take that energy and you're going to present it to everybody else that surrounds you, your loved ones, your soldiers, whoever it may be. You're going to use that negative energy and it's just going to make everything worse. Try to be positive. Pick something positive in life that's going really well. Use that positive energy and let that dictate the rest of your day. We can harp on the negatives. We can harp on the bad things that are going on in life. It's not going to help us. It's not going to help us move forward. Stay strong, keep pushing, drive on. Happy Friday.
What's up, Trash Talkers? Hitting you up this morning with a special promo on how to dress when you're doing PT in civilians, but you want everybody to know you're an Army. This comes from the Buddy Beckwith fashion design of how to work out. So first, you can notice the RI panties. Not Ranger panties, but Ranger Instructor panties. The green socks, the knee brace for the old guys. Don't forget the M frames. Now the shirt, don't wear the Trash Talk shirt while you're running. This is just for the promo. You want to put on like an 80-second shirt or like your favorite airborne shirt so everybody knows that you're a veteran. That's the most important thing. And you start with this stretch. Buddy Beckwith taught me this one. Ready to go.
So, I'm walking out of the gas station and my co-worker, who's an old MP, but we still claim him, and he has engaged the man in conversation. Not much for conversation with strangers, but he's got the tab. So, as I walk by, I say airborne, and the man responds with, and I quote, "Hoorah." So, after I instructed my co-worker to slash every single tire before he put the car in gear, I looked for the biggest rock. As I crow-hopped to throw it through his back window so he can stop posing as one of us, I actually wake up and realize that the man's ignorance had incapacitated me for a moment, and I was daydreaming. I mean, because in that moment you got two options. I chose the third option and said, "Incorrect. That's an incorrect response." And I kept walking. The man said nothing and he pulled away. So you tell me, what is it, a stolen valor thing? No Marine's gonna have an airborne tab, and no paratrooper's gonna say hidden hoorah. So you tell me, stolen valor?
Hey, y'all, I'm going to work. I left you a note on the refrigerator. I love y'all. I'm gonna go.
Hey, go get dressed. Get ready for school.
You're doing great. I was tooling around, tooling along. Shit! Bad guys! Stop!
Let me break it down Barney style.
Families, enjoy the show. What's up, sports fans? Are you looking for a job? Do you want to change in careers? Do you want to own your own business? I got the answer for you. This show is brought to you by FleetTex. FleetTex is partnering with veterans with mechanical or electronic experience. FleetTex specializes in on-site deployment of GPS tracking equipment and cameras for fleet vehicles across our nation. Check out what they do at www.fleettex.com. Apply today. Currently targeting veterans living in Michigan, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Tennessee. Local work and travel opportunities may be available in other areas. FleetTex proudly supports our military, its service members, our veterans, and their families. Enjoy the show.
This is the Veteran Trash Talk Hour, hosted by Nick, Dave, Joe, and Buddy. Real warriors making fun of other real
warriors. Try to not get triggered.
Talkers, Gruntworks Nation, what's up? Hey, we're here with an early rendition of the Trash Talk Hour. I think we're on episode like 102 or something like that. Dave couldn't make it. We have a busy weekend. I got my daughter and my wife's birthday Saturday, Sunday, and Dave's daughter is doing something like horseback riding or something like that for another party or something. It's just nuts. And then we were supposed to have we have a hodgepodge here, and we were supposed to have a special guest host as well, but he is tied up right now with a couple of generals at a gate. We won't say what base that is, but he just wants me to let the Trash Talk community know that these two generals did not get laid last night, and they're being menaces at the gate. So if you're watching this and there's a holdup at a gate with two generals, then you know what I'm talking about. But other than that, hey, welcome to Chris Kerber is here. He's been on the show a few times. He's filling in for Dave, and then of course our guest Mickey Severson. Either way, who's off? It doesn't really matter. We don't really care. But anyways, big shout out to our sponsors. As you see in the back, 10th Mountain Whiskey. Go to 10thmountainwhiskey.com and put in the code VTT. Get yourself a discount. And then Fleet Techs, you heard the ad. Seriously, guys, if you need a job, or girls, if you need a job, all right, and you want to do some work, some good work, they're hiring veterans. All you got to do is go to fleettechs.com and then make it happen. So we got a fun crew today. We're gonna start off like we normally do with the conspiracy. And we brought in, we fired Dave on this, and we brought in the expert. So this should be a pretty freaking solid conspiracy. So Chris, take it away.
All right. So no tinfoil hat today, but I wanted to grace the show with my presence here. So we're gonna talk a little bit about something. As soon as I say the topic, it's already gonna take off from there. So who's heard of adrenochrome? All right, nope. Conspiracy? No, nope. Never heard of that. Nope. Okay. I thought we were. Nobody's heard of adrenochrome. Okay.
Adrenochrome.
No, you haven't.
I'm gonna go with some type of adrenaline boosting.
All right. So before I don't want to Epstein myself here, but I'm gonna let you know, adrenochrome is real as fuck, and it runs our world. So if you know about adrenochrome, I don't know, but TikTok tells me it's a real thing as well. So adrenochrome, right? It's got to be real. If it's on the internet,
we're not even getting into TikTok.
Nope. TikTok is usually pretty right. So
right, me and my Proud Boys here, we know adrenochrome is real.
What is it?
What is it?
Adrenochrome. It's disgusting. First off, all right. So adrenochrome is literally the blood that's secreted from a small child because they're scared to death of what's going on. And these satanics, they drink it. All right. So it's the fountain of youth, apparently. I don't know. Ask
stem cells.
So it's like
it is stem cell. Yeah.
So it's some like Old Testament Baal Astaroth type crap, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard of that. I've heard something about that. So yeah.
The Illuminati. There
you go. Yeah. Baal Astaroth, Old Testament stuff. Gotcha.
So what's the conspiracy?
So the conspiracy is that, that is, the people that run the show, the people that, put us into those wars, they do what they do. The Illuminati, those are the people that the satanic rituals, the eating of flesh, it's all a conspiracy, but adrenochrome, if you look at Epstein and the Clintons or, the Obama, whoever, they all have been on this boat, right? And they go to this mystical island. It's kind of like Pinocchio, actually. But they rode onto the boat to the Pleasure Island, the Epstein Island, Little St. George, and they scare the babies and they drink the blood. I don't know. That's what I've heard.
Right now, are we talking like the Baal god that's metal and they put the baby on it and melts to death? Something crazy.
I think what we have to answer here is we'll go to Chris first. Chris, do you believe in the adrenochrome philosophy of the world elites drinking baby blood so that they can live forever and rule us? Does this exist?
I do. Absolutely.
We'll go with Chris because he's a guest host as well today. Our producer, the fake Asian in the background. What's your take on the elite drinking baby's blood? Okay, so you're on the fence. You don't really know. So it could exist, but probably not. Is that what you're going with?
Right.
Like vampires.
For now.
Well, do you think there's any correlation between these guys and then the alien vampires that we talked about before that drink the cow's blood? Like, is it just like, have they evolved from, because we were from aliens according to Dave. So then now instead of cow's blood, we just figured out that fetal blood is better for you. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. All right, Mickey, what say you?
Dude, this is Old Testament stuff, man. I'm in the Bible Belt South, so if I were to tell this to my pastor, dude, this is lipstick on a pig from the Old Testament, dude. So yeah, it's not. Solomon once said there is nothing new under the sun. This is just So this is repackaged Old Testament stuff to throw people off. That's all this is. So yeah, based on what I went through my time in Baghdad, this couldn't be outside the realm of possibility if it tried to be. It's totally believable.
Okay, yeah, because when you go, people don't realize when you go to Iraq, especially on the rivers, that's some of the oldest known places on the planet under record and structure. So yeah, there's definitely. I always made a joke. I said the Iraqis created algebra, then they for some reason just stopped reading. So
and I hate them for
it. Maybe they were drinking the wrong blood, and then they
need to be dick punched for creating algebra.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Like I do believe that the satanic rituals are real. I mean they've already happened before, and again, truly, when you look at any type of faith, without getting too into religion, but any type of faith, right? It gets corrupted by power and greed, right? So the best faith to go to would be satanic, right? Because that's nothing but about yourself, right? And making yourself live longer, right? And the pleasures of the flesh, right? All that stuff. You just get to glorify all of it. I always made a joke. I said I'd either be like a Mormon or like, whatever, if I change something, because then you just have celestial sex for the rest of your life. I don't know how that works. That's another conspiracy.
And they're giant spiritual diapers.
Yeah. I'm just saying, but
that's the greatest movie ever.
But so like, would it surprise me if that these global elites from these, and like I said, there's a difference between the Sachs brothers, the people who control the financial portion, and then the people who actually run the mob, right? I think those are two different groups of people, in my opinion. We can spin off into another conspiracy. But where I'm at right now for the World Balloon Festival for the birthdays, there's actually the most elite university out here in New Mexico, right? The College of the Worlds, right? Where all the elite send their kids.
Really?
Why is it out in New Mexico? Right? And it's in a castle. Okay. And it's like, and then there's another area here, right by us, that's out in the mountains, because there's beautiful country up here in New Mexico and Santa Fe areas. But like they have the most millionaires per capita in that one little area. And then they have the most PhDs per capita in that one little area. And it's like, and then Colorado, where the New World Order airport is, right? Right. That's only a 3-hour drive from here.
My tinfoil on right now.
That's only about a 3.5, 4-hour drive from here, right? So it's like it's this little puddle jump over there. But so yeah, we kind of covered this before, but I don't know. I'm on the fence about the actual drinking of the baby's blood. So
I can believe it at this point. Really, I mean, from 2020 on, it's been Revelation meets Jumanji, so I can believe it at this point.
So yeah, there's a bunch of wild stuff going on. So yeah, I think that handles that. And our guest host was supposed to come on and tell us something that would behoove us to listen to, but like I said, he's dealing with generals that didn't get laid last night, and they're just
make them beat their face at the front gate.
Generals do feel privileged, don't they?
Yeah. Well, that's something I kind of wanted to chat about. That was on my brain, and how I troll on Facebook, and it's not really a book of Earl today, but you see here we have this this individualism, right? That's, taking, America's always been about individualism, right? And it's not necessarily a bad thing, right? It's when it's like, because, I'm going to go do whatever I want. I'm going to go make the money the way I want. Now, here's what I always say. If you want to be part of a community, if you want the resources that community provides, then you do what the community wants you to do. All right. That's when you have to drop your individualism. All right. So if you want good schools, good firemen, good cops, pay the taxes, homie. Right. Like, make sure they have a living wage. All right. You want to go live out in the woods? Go live out in the woods. Right. Get off the grid. Then you don't got to worry about it. But here's where I get a little chappy with the veterans. And this, like I said, I'm on my little private, war with U.S. Army what the fuck moments. Not with, not the people I know there, but the admins are just out of control lately. And they're posting stuff that, but again, I don't want to throw the term woke out there, because then we have to cultivate the narrative intelligence, because then somebody will come on and say, well, woke actually means aware. And it's like, oh, here we go. Now we're spinning and talking about whatever. But so I'm just going to say, here comes the individualism on steroids in the military now, right? To where you actually have people who buy into this. Let's feel sorry for the general only officer latrine. All right. That was the picture that I started commenting on. Now, I'm going to bet you $1 bazillion that general did not have somebody put that sign up. It's
somebody was kissing his ass.
Some major kissing his ass, put it up there. And I guarantee you, if there's a Joe going in a general's bathroom where the general's headquarters is, it's probably like, his driver, or like the sharp rep, or somebody like that, like that, that's who hangs out in division headquarters, right? Like the dude probably works there.
Commo guy. It might be his commo guy.
It might be his commo guy. Chaplain's assistant. I don't know. Right? So it's like, I'm sure the general's not going to be like, "Hey, get out of my bathroom." All right. So here's where the individualism takes over. Somebody actually writes on WW Moments, well, he's no better than anyone else. Yes, he is. Okay. He's a fucking general. Okay. Yeah. Do you have like 6 like master's degrees from like war colleges and stuff like that? This is where we start to destroy our army from within, when we start thinking that generals shouldn't be looking up and out. Okay. Up and out is what generals are supposed to be looking at. Right. Putting us are the ground fighters, putting us in the right spot at the right time to win the war. Right. That's their job. And yes, they're better at it than the average soldier. Okay. They're way better at it. And guess what? Their days never end. That's why they're at a gate right now yelling at somebody. Okay. Those generals. And then until you get to like 4-star, that's when you have your big staffs where even your servants have servants. Right. But after that, that dude's traveling all day. His day starts at 3 a.m., probably ends at 1900, 2000. So if he needs 5 minutes to shower, guess what? He's more important than everybody fucking else in that room. Right. So that's just understand that with the Army. And that's where, even with the DOD, right, when we talk about what's the role of an NCO, right, now that differs by branch. But when it goes pretty much like the Marine and the Army, where you're not a technical sergeant, right? You're probably a fighter, you're a team leader, something like that. It's your job to take care of soldiers. It's your job to manage them, to make sure that they don't waste their time. It's not the generals, right? It's not even the colonels, right? Like, it's like a lot of times if you go talk to a colonel, he'll be like, what's happening? Right? Because he's not supposed to care, right? He should care as a human being, but it's not his job. Like, he literally, like, think about running a private organization where you have 40 employees that are supposed to do jobs and be a team, right? And then when you're in the private sector and somebody just doesn't want to do their job or help the team, guess what we do? We fire them. Why? Because that's what you're supposed to do. And now everybody wants a pat in the back for doing what they're supposed to do. I'm sorry, good job. Like, don't I pay you $52,000 a year for that? Like, right? Like, isn't that what you're supposed to do? Now, when you go outside and help the team by going outside of your scope because you're an actual team player and not an individual, all right, that's when you get an attaboy, right? That's when you get a pay raise. That's when you get something like that, So that's kind of just what I want to cover for a little bit. Who's that? but what I'm going to say is Americans have always been individuals, right? And like it's kind of taught to us. And then when you get here's where the crazies come out on the left and the right, to where they think that they're free, but then they want to control everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like, I'm glad you have that opinion. Is it okay that I have mine? Right. And a far left or a far right person will just start, they'll lose their shit. Like,
yeah.
No, you're not allowed to have your own opinion. Mine's the one. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, that's what I got for today. That's off the cuff because somebody else was supposed to deliver the motivational speech of what the hell's going wrong with our society today. But what do you guys think about that? How about that? Here's a conspiracy. Are generals better than a staff sergeant?
They're better at they might be better in their particular specialty for
the military.
Yeah.
It depends on how many stars we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Now, if it was a warrant officer, I'd say no. Because a CW5, I actually saw one once out of the corner of my eye for like half a second. They're the best, period. Okay. I guarantee you a CW5 doesn't get out of bed for anything less than a 1-star. I'll bet money.
Well, yeah. I mean, you got usually a lot in the fires units. You got a CW5 works at the brigade fires. So that's usually somebody there like that. But let me maybe phrase it a different way. Not are they better? Because obviously I can be better than a general at a lot of things. But when it comes to the Army and strategic planning and time use of the day, whose time is more important?
The general, yeah, we'll give you that. Yeah, absolutely. Damn.
Yeah, we got a lot of comments coming on here from one's from Elizabeth Smith, and she says with any rise in any organization comes with added perks. A general compared to a CEO is like that's the boss, you know. And then you got Nana says it depends if they have common sense. It's hard to come by nowadays.
There you go.
Remember, common sense is relative, okay, and that's where I think we're losing the common sense of what the military's like. So it's not common sense to say that nobody's more important than somebody else in the military.
Okay, here's what I'm going to say. Let me jump in just real quick because my brain's in the blender. I usually refer to wokeness as mental masturbation gone mad. You got some more conservative Christian pastors like in the celebrity class. They don't want that to be there, but they call it downright satanic because it's all about it's about their savior complex that they want to just unleash on the world because that participation trophy thing just ballooned their ego. So yeah, I think people need to get some perspective on where they are in the grand scheme of things, and you'll get that downrange. That's a problem. A lot of these guys are slick sleeve that have never been downrange and don't get it on that level. That's part of the problem.
Yeah. And then again, the Army made a song about it. Like I said, I'm Army, Chris was Army. You were Army after the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
But it's like, they made a song about it. It says the Army is going to keep rolling along.
Yeah.
Right. Like no matter what you think is wrong with the Army, which a lot of it's justified.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just going to keep going, and it's like, are you going to whine about it? Or are you going to do something about it? But I think whining about a general getting a pissed in peace or something like that, like whatever, dude. Like, what are you doing near where the general's bathroom is, anyways? And guess what? I guarantee you the general wouldn't give a shit if you went in there.
Mm-hmm.
No, you won't. Right? But you, as a member of an organization, if you even see that sign and you don't have the common sense like Nana's talking about, where did the general put that sign up? Probably not, right? Yeah. And it's like, but somebody's like, no, this dude, like, we don't like. It bothers maybe the office when they see the general walk to the bathroom and maybe walk back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Well, right. Yeah, and then on DoD installations, you can also have Gold Star families as an authorized spot, and pregnant women, right, which kind of falls under the same thing as and yes, CUO people, pregnant women. Okay, women. All right, but I'm going to use that. Is that right? But okay,
birthing persons.
We don't need to get into that. But now I get the distinct pleasure of introducing our guest, which he's been a part of this community and page for a long time, and we love him for it. I think we banned him like 3 times. We brought him back on. He's been blocked. We reestablished his permissions because Mickey says whatever Mickey wants, and then he doesn't understand sometimes that as part of the whole community, as part of the whole community goes, we can't sacrifice the whole community because you want to bitch about something. Right. Like we can't do it. I'm glad you're upset about what Hillary Clinton did, but it just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm
beginning to think I've got impulse control issues. It's starting to scare me a little bit.
No, like I said, we talk a little bit, like you heard, we talk a little bit of politics and wokeness on the show. But when it comes to the page, this may be a good plug for the page of Veteran Trash Talk.
Yeah.
It exists to almost as like a veteran one-stop. Right.
Yeah.
But an actual one that's not a nonprofit that doesn't, employ 700 psychologists. It actually is like when you come there and say, I'm having a bad day, right? The community is supposed to help. Yeah. Right? The community, like, it's amazing when somebody says, hey, anybody live in Montana? And I'm like, I don't know anybody that lives in Montana. Now I know like 7. All right. Like now I know 7 people that live in Montana. That's like half the population. Yeah.
And that's what I love about this page. As far as a love and support, y'all are just off the charts. I gotta say that. I will say that without reservation. That's why I love you guys so much. I mean, and it's quick. Like, you guys are like Speedy Gonzalez fast, dude.
Yeah, and that's a big credit to our admin. I don't know if Chris is still an admin. I think we fired him a few times.
I've been promoted.
He's been promoted. He's on the board of directors for the admin. But yeah. No, big shout out to all of our admin and moderators. They do great stuff. And you got like VTT's OE254, you got VTT's Pacific Tita, you got Voice of Reason, which she's probably not gonna be happy about some of my comments earlier, but oh well. And then sorry, Letha. But we got Kevin. All right, Kevin's a wild card. We don't ever know what he's thinking, but he does a lot of great things. We got Cliff. Yeah, we got VTT's mental health warrior and Cliff. We got all these guys that do all these great things. And and again, so just like we talk about with making the general's day hard, if like when you message all the admin about why you don't like how our page runs, it's like we just go, give a fuck what you think. Right? Like, these guys, they are putting in the hours of trying to make sure we can help a veteran when they need help.
Yeah.
All right. And that we can just have fun and a good time if nobody needs help that day. It's okay to have fun too, guys. But a little spin off there. But Mickey's been known for Veteran Trash Talk for a while, and he's been trying to get on the show, and he finally sent us his book. I don't know if my thing's going to show it, but We Did Not Deserve the Crapper. All right. And it's because I'm in school right now, I didn't get to read the whole book before the show, but I got about 6 chapters done.
Okay, that's good.
And then in between. So there's a lot of good stuff. In fact, the way you drank your first beer is exactly the way I drank my first beer. The exact same way. So Mickey was a Marine, and now we get to say a former Marine because he switched over to the Army. Like most Marines do, they realize that they made a poor choice. And then they realize that they actually want to go get promoted.
What a concept. Holy crap.
But hey, Mickey, welcome to the show. Talk a little bit about your service, talk about your book, what you want the book to accomplish, what it has accomplished, and all that good stuff. So welcome to the Trash Talk Hour.
Thank you. The reason I wrote the book, it's a promise kept, because I was in a gym in La Crosse, Wisconsin one night. I was talking to this dude, and I know I was in a bad place. My sleep cycle was upside down, and I'm working out late at night. So I told a story. I don't even remember what story I told. I was talking to this random weightlifter, and he's like, dude, you should write a book. And it's one of those rare moments where my brain wasn't spinning like a centrifugal separator for nuclear fissile material. You know what I'm saying?
Nope.
Like a blend. Okay, we'll call it a nuclear blender. My brain was spinning like a nuclear blender, right? It stopped, and without even thinking, I got on my laptop on Facebook Messenger way back in the day, back in like 2012, I want to say.
Yeah.
Way back in the day. Holy crap, I'm old. And I got on, I messaged all four of the guys the original four from Compound 3, which is where all that took place. All the stupid stuff in Baghdad took place. I said, I want to tell our story. I says, if you are 99% sure, the book dies here. 3 minutes later, the Hawkeye McGee character in Afghanistan at the time chimes in, I got your back, do it. 3 hours later, the other three guys chime in, one of whom which is dead now. And we'll get to that in a little bit. They chimed in and said, we got your back. And my now former publishing consultant said it takes 3 to 10 years to write a good book. So yeah, it was one of those, it's like the Hobbit, I'm going on an adventure. It was one of those rare moments where I wasn't thinking myself into oblivion. I just started doing it. Okay. So that's how that happened.
Nice. So yeah, tell us a little bit about like your service and like how that, like, you know, and where you bounced around from. And then again, there in the book, like I said, there's characters, right? And I've seen this before in some veteran books where they don't want to say the names of people. So they change it to, you know, just, you know, characters. So I like how that's done as well. Yeah. But talk a little bit about that service that had to be done into the book. Like you had to tell your story because we love it. And authors usually do really well on this show because like that's also a part of therapy is writing.
Okay.
Like write it out.
Okay. It originally started in La Crosse. There's a La Crosse vet center there. My guy said I should write a book because it would be cathartic for me. And it's originally started out, Fob Crapper, also known as Camp Cropper, and I can say it now because it was on the Fox News ticker back when I first got home. I was in a crappy little Planet Fitness.
What year was this?
I want to say 2010.
Okay.
They literally talked about Camp Cropper that we handed the base over them, and they waited about a week before they started killing detainees. And it's like, wow, that's awfully polite of you. No, that was one of the things that started it in my head. And there's another moment. I was driving to my cousin's place and I rear-ended a guy and he had a minivan. It was raining and slick and I didn't stop in time. He grabs his daughter and I have the most unbelievable flashback. Like the fact that my body was violently shaking inside and I was on the verge of just losing it, like completely losing it. And that's what started the process. And because we were the only internment facility in all of Iraq to house juveniles. Okay. And there were 2 juvenile murders.
Yeah, you talk about it in the book too. You talk about in the book too, where they didn't have birth certificates. And so I'll
tell you that one quick. Okay. Yeah. So there are 2 examples of that. There was this one poor kid. I'm pretty sure he was 18, but it was like he kept saying he was 17. Okay. And an E7 from the talk comes down with his birth certificate. I'm 17. And he's like, no. So as he's walking across the main drag from the juvenile zone to the adult zone, all the adults are like, tight ass, tight ass, tight ass, tight ass. And we're like, he's so... The next morning he didn't have a tight ass and he wasn't walking right. Jeez. He was not. He was on his tippy toes with his legs spread apart, walking around because they wore his ass.
Yeah. You know, for people that you know. This is a good segue into a point that I've always said about like the horrors of war. Mm-hmm. All right. And everybody thinks like Normandy, shells landing on the beach.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you see things that are just awful.
Yeah.
Like awful, like things that are disgusting that like, no, humans aren't supposed to do that. And then, but that's for the audience because we have civilians that watch too. It's like, these are things that, you know, we make jokes about them because that's how we get over it.
It's right? Called gallows humor. Yeah,
exactly. We deal with what we've seen with a little bit of humor.
I'm going to throw. Let me just real quick. The goal of the book, to give you the goal real quick. I want the veteran to read it, hand it to the civilian and say, you will be pop quizzed. And to your point, I want the civilian to say, this is the shit you do downrange where we're not looking when the cameras aren't. This is the shit that really goes on. Are you? And you're like, yup. and I share my story as completely and bluntly as possible. So you, the veteran, can share yours as selectively as possible, as comfortable as you feel. So I'm taking one. I'm the guy in the group that's taking one for the team. You know, you want to get to the bridesmaid, so I gotta get the chubby one that's sexually frustrated. That's the gatekeeper. That's me doing that for you guys one more time.
Yeah. Look, I picked up on that when reading it, and again, we always say that on the community is that stop lumping all veterans into the same bubble, because we're not the same. We have different experiences. We have shared experiences. We have, we have different values even, but there should be the values of like what the military is supposed to stand for, what it's supposed to do. And that pretty much covers it. They've had that for a while, but yeah. So like when you read that, people will ask me, hey, did that really happen? And I'm gonna be like, not to me. Right. But that probably did happen to him. That's not outside the realm of possibility. Right. Like, hey, did you ever kill a civilian?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it really sucked, and like, because nobody really wants to do that. There are sick people on this planet that do want to do that. But like, that's a very, like, nah, man. Like, so sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. So for the civilians watching, that's exactly what he's saying. Is that's a good idea with all the veteran books that we bring on here, is like, read it and then go ask your buddy, your neighbor, it's like, hey, is this real? And then he might be like, nah, not, but that's because that's his perspective. That's what he saw as a veteran. But yeah, you were getting into it about the jail.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So the thing about that was a combination transition prison and minimum security prison. They were transferring. One of my guys that I randomly met, he was a prison guard down in Buca. So that was one of the big prisons. This was a transition and a minimum security prison. So you'd either go to Buca down south, and there was a prison up somewhere up north near Iran. I didn't really know. I knew the two primary prisons I knew about was Camp Cropper and Buca. The problem was before I got there. They did it before I got there, but before they started segregating prisoners, you had Ba'ath Party officials and elite Republican Guard getting arrested on purpose so they could hide out in the prisons, because they weren't segregating people. They didn't have like Compound 5 yet, which I never got to write about because everybody and their mother had an NDA, non-disclosure agreement on Compound 5, and I talked to one guy about it. He said, shut the fuck up and stop asking me about a Compound 5 because I can't talk about it.
Right.
But yeah, they that's where they were putting the elite Republican Guard and the Ba'ath Party officials, because and what they were doing, they were force multiplying the prisoners, teaching them all, like they taught them how to make drywall out of toothpaste. They taught, they were turning concrete rebar into shanks.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what that was, and they were, and the other problem is that we compounded it with, they were getting monthly stipends to live there, to be in the prison. So some of them would reoffend in prison just to stay there longer to get a stipend, so they could have more money.
Yeah.
So they were whooping each other, they were murdering each other, they were raping each other to no end. I mean, no man loved Thursday. Screw you,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, Rebecca just jumped out. What's up, Rebecca? She's a good fan of ours and a big contributor on the page as well. And yeah, we went a little early today because we got a lot of birthdays in the family we got to celebrate this weekend. Yeah. But no, that's a good point. And then again, to help give scope to it, and to the people watching, is you think you might know about tribal warfare, right? Because you've read about it somewhere, or this, that. Like when you actually see it in person, like it's insane, right? So we had, when I was deployed back in 2006, one time the Al Qaeda attack tried to overrun everybody. Well, they didn't succeed, but they smoked a lot of the IPs, right? So like, and then a lot of the IPs fled, right? And then we killed a bunch of them, and then it stopped. All right, but they brought in the SF team that was embedded with us, brings down a battalion of Iraqi army. Right, and they were Shia, right, and then it was a heavy Sunni city, but it had a Shia monument there, right? That was really important. So that monument kept getting blown up, i.e. the Golden Mosque, right? So it kept getting blown up. So now you got people who are actual trained army who are really upset with the whole community. Because again, 99% of that city didn't care about the mosque. Okay. But because they're Sunni, right? The Shia, then that's exactly what they come down and go, hey, watch these guys. He's like, because if you let them go, they'll murder this entire city. You know, like just like that. And people are like, no way. Yeah, way.
Yes.
Yeah, way. Like they will murder all of them.
Well,
So,
let me share something with you about kind of from the book. The Shia in Islam are outnumbered like 8 or 10 to 1 on a good day. So they're what I like to call nuts out of necessity. Yeah, well, I pissed them off by saying Salman Rushdie is my best. Salman Rushdie, Ani Habibi. Ani Habibi means my loving friend, is my loving friend. And I said that the Shia hated me after that. They called me Sweech, which is crazy, and Mushkila, which is trouble. So, yeah, the Shia are nuts out of necessity. So,
but that's why I was just trying to give scope to these people like that, to the civilians watching, or somebody doesn't understand what tribal warfare actually looks like.
Yeah, their shit is savage, dude.
Yeah, like I mean, it's almost to the point where it's, I mean, like, man, you fuck do what? Like we had an interpreter that was like gathering an arsenal, and I'm like, why do you have all that shit? And he goes, because when you leave, I'm gonna go kill all the Kurds. I was like, okay, good goal, buddy. Like, have fun. But holy shit! But hey, where can people get your book?
Right now, it's on Amazon.
On Amazon,
and I'm working on. I'm kind of doing a transition from one publishing consultant to another, so we can get things back up and running properly. You can go on Amazon. You can look for it. We Did Not Deserve the Crapper. My two transitional consultants are going to have a meeting today and pound that out so we can get that. So that's all kosher again. So yeah, just go on Amazon. We Did Not Deserve the Crapper. I'll send you a link and you can post that and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's what's going on with that.
All right. And then so again, were you in the Marines in 2010 or did you?
No, I spent my first 4 years from 1994 to 1998 in the Marine Corps. I'll tell you real quick how that happened. I was a 18-year-old kid. I was driving. My aunt and my sister were driving back to my aunt's place, and I pissed off my aunt because I got a big mouth, and she was getting mad at me. This is way up on the north side of Milwaukee. Normally, she got off on an exit that she normally never gets off on.
Like a Hampton.
I think so. I think so. It was a Goodwill homeless shelter, so it was farther north than that, I think. So she pulls in. She's driving this giant ass Pontiac Catalina. It's 2 Priuses long almost. Okay. She pulls in, and the trunk is big enough to hold an entire fire team, like jocked up fire team, and she grabs my box of stuff. She walks in and she throws it on the floor, and she's in front of the desk. She goes to sign me in. I'm looking off to the right at this homeless dude who I could smell as well as I could see. He was holding a bottle of whiskey. He had the trench coat on the whole nine. He stunk and he was drunk. And it was a combination of BO and whiskey, So my aunt says to me, she says, it's either this or the United States military. I look at him, I look at her, I look back at him, and I said, fuck that. I'm not going out that way.
I'm not going to the military. You guy's having a great time. He's drunk at 9 a.m.
Exactly. No shit. Yeah, I'll go find him. I'll go find him. Anyways, yeah. So when I chose the Marine Corps, because I was only getting a GED because my brain spins all the time and I can't focus to save my life sometimes. She said, "You know what? I figured you'd be dumb enough to pick the hardest one." So, and then I got out of the Marine Corps in '98 simply because the Marine Infantry Division is like a black hole. It just sucks you in. It's like a roach motel. You get in, but you don't get out. And it's like, I want to get promoted. I want to be a legit technician. So I joined the Army in the National Guard, where young Marine motivation goes to die horribly. Then I joined the reserves. in 2001, and that's where I got both of my deployments in.
Yeah, so not so much a weekend a month, huh? Yeah,
I can finally get the 1 weekend a month my ass T-shirt. So
yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
there
you go.
We came up with that already. We got I got your 6 1 weekend a month. So
there you go. And do a variation 1 weekend a month my ass G-Watt or something like that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the thing about my military service, I was raised by a Vietnam vet, and I always repressed myself personally and professionally because he would have flashbacks, and I'm like, that's in me. I have to control that, and I really didn't develop myself professionally because I'd probably be cursing people out and standing in the process of standing up for myself like I was fighting my father all over again. So that's one of my big regrets, is not developing myself professionally. I was a career E4 Mafia member and a technician. I was content in that little space, and I should have not been so content. So there you go.
Yeah, there you go. But all right. Also, tell us about the Wyatt Earp of Buka.
Yeah, I met him in La Crosse, Wisconsin. He is one of the reasons I am so protective of my guys. When I say protective, I mean, you remember that bear that consumed 88 pounds of coke?
Yeah.
That's me when protecting my guys, because I'm literally interviewing this guy on a couch in La Crosse, Wisconsin for his story. Okay. He was a prison guard, and he pissed off Saddam Hussein's nephew who was in that prison. Okay. There's this Fanta drink. Saddam's nephew wanted the Fanta. Oh, ladies, you're gonna learn a beautiful lesson about tasers and the large intestine here in a second. Just, you'll love this. So he's got his Fanta. Saddam's nephew wants his Fanta. My guy Wyatt says, "No, fuck you. This is mine." So they squabble over it. The LT actually takes Saddam's side, and that bitch needs a beating. He needs a come to Jesus wall-to-wall counseling moment. So Wyatt Earp says no. They start scuffling. His assistant Money Mike almost jumps in until Wyatt tases Saddam's nephew. So he tases him with the wires, gets him on the ground, yanks. He lets go of the trigger, pulls off the tip with the extensions, dry tases him directly. Fun fact, if you dry tase someone continuously for 18 seconds, they will shit themselves. It's going to happen. So he dry tases him until he shits himself. And he is forced to give the Fanta to Saddam's nephew, but after he shits himself. And what happens is he goes and he gets his Fanta. The next part of the story involves the Wahhabis. Now, the Wahhabis and the Salafi are the ruling class of the Sunni side of the House of Islam. They have one minor disagreement about one sheikh. Other than that, they march in spiritual, religious lockstep without problem. Al Qaeda won't fuck with the Wahhabis. That's how hardcore they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Buka was built on the prison that is Buka was built on a landfill. So if you want something and you don't know where to get it, you just start digging until you find it. AKs, grenades, RPGs, you name it, just start digging. So what they did this is no joke. They would keep an eye on one guard and just monitor him. Dude ultimately fell asleep, and he was yanked out of country after that. Because what happened was they made a gravestone and they dug up the dirt in front of it to simulate that it was a grave. And they had individual guards' names. Wyatt's was on there. It was one of his names. And they wait for the guy to come up on the catwalk. They point to him. They point to the grave and they go like this with a throat slitting slap. Another LT was watching this in his binoculars. And he hands the binos to Wyatt, and he says, "Dude, you might want to take a look at this." Wyatt's name was on one of the grave markers. That when the process of telling that story, that's the moment he almost had a panic attack. And I'm like, oh my shit, he's gonna PTSD the house. Okay. That's why I'm protective of him And that's why when I would collaborate with people and collaborate with potential publishers, I was the bear who consumed 88 pounds of crack. I would say to them, you can touch this part of the book, but you can't touch this part of the book. You cannot do any heavy editing and content. And that's what cost me a lot of publishers, because they would want to screw with content as much as for whatever reason, for a storytelling thing. And I'm like, okay, you can touch my stuff, but you leave this alone, because these guys, here's the thing, at the end of the day, the publisher doesn't have to live with the disrespect that the collaborators feel if they just machine gun fuck that content. I have to live with that. So I was protective of my guys to a fault.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. To a horrible fault, but yeah.
So, all right. So again, it's only on Amazon, right?
It's only on Amazon right now. I'm going to get with my new publicist and my new publishing consultant. We're going to see what we can do to ramp things up, because I've got other projects that I'm tying to the book, and I'm going to try to kind of get everything consolidated on one website. Because my next project, and it's all tied to the book in the sense that I talk, like, there's one story near the end of the book about my grandmother, my pot-headed grandmother, Dubisaurus, and how she cooked a turkey.
Dubisaurus.
Dude, I like I told you, but
I know.
Dude, no. She's been smoking weed for 40 years, dude. I would put her bong hit for bong hit up against Snooper Willie. Not joking.
Yeah, I was a unicorn. So, yeah.
Wow.
You got
Nick, I love you, but she'd smoke you under the table.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. So I wasn't walking around blazed all day, but I still had a job to do.
Yeah, she's been smoking for 40 damn years, but man, she could cook. And is that, and my grandfather, my dad's side of the family, who's the biggest dick I ever met in my life. He made me eat Brussels sprouts, and they were nasty as shit. For some reason, I decided I could do better, and I did better. And I learned how to cook food in a watermelon on YouTube one night. And I mentioned some of this stuff in the book, and I'm kind of linking things together so I can give this to the veteran community and say, here, take this, run with this, use this. I want, really what I want is a veteran like you reading the book, the wife to get a hold of it and say, and your excuse to not go to therapy is what? This dude just unloaded his whole soul. He's as fucked in the head as you, if not worse, and he's still doing this, and he's still trying. I want it to be to where it's like, oh, dude, okay, I have no excuse. I'll call the vet center and start and schedule an appointment. I mean, I'm at a point where they've got me doing that transcranial magnet therapy because the counseling just isn't working. So yeah, I'm getting help. And if I can get the veteran community to set to the point where they're like, I literally have no excuse to not get help now, because this dude just went all the way off the deep end and basically chronicled it. And I want the spouse to read it and be like, call the vet center right now. Your ass is going to therapy. You have no excuse. So
no, yeah, that's a good point. I did that book Earl last show about, going to therapy, and I don't care how tough you are, what your MOS was, I mean, I can compare ERBs with a lot of people who think that they got but again, each person has to fight their battle, has to fight their demons. And it does help to see somebody else's, right? And then that's why it's a good thing, but you're not going to win the fight by yourself.
No.
That's what Veteran Trash Talk's all about is, but then again, going back to how I started the show out is, don't think that your problem is above reproach, or that that nobody else can help you with it, that nobody else understands you, right? Like, I might not have had the same experiences as you in Iraq or Afghanistan, but I had issues in Iraq and Afghanistan. They're not the same as yours, but they are issues. Right. So, yeah, go to Amazon, We Did Not Deserve the Crapper. Again, we promote veteran-owned businesses here, authors, nonprofits, for-profits, doesn't matter. Or if you just want to come on and tell your story as a squad, all right, or a fire team, that's what we're here for. And we do it for free. All right. And the karma's going to come. However, we do have great partners. All right. Our partners like 10th Mountain Whiskey, they're with us every step of the way. Every event that we go speak at, they show up. Right. When we were doing the Warrior Ride with Ultimate Sacrifice Foundation, they showed up. Right. And then they were helping people out. Then we got Fleet Techs. Well, I was in New York. So gave a speech in Rye and we raised over $90,000 for the Ultimate Sacrifice Foundation. And it was a great time. And 10th Mountain showed up, right? And they were handing out bourbon, and that also helps people give money out because they get a little buzzed up. No, it was they're really good partners. And then Fleet Tex as well. Fleet Tex, they sponsor our fight show, and now they're partners with all Veteran Trash Talk, and they just want to hire veterans. So go to fleettex.com. All right. And let's give Chris the last word. But again, go on Amazon. We did not deserve the crapper. Check out our stores, gruntworksclothing.com and shop.veterantrashtalk.com. All those things. Glad to have you on this Saturday, Mickey. It was a blast. I can't wait to finish your book. Again, it's a little raw, but then read it with emotional intelligence to the point where it's not your story, it's his. Okay, so just read it.
Here's what I'm going to say. I gotta get this out. I really need to get this out. I had a sweet little old church lady read my book. She got past she says, once you get past the first 100 to 150 pages, she literally called it easy reading. But it's like, here's the thing. Here's what I'm doing. Yeah, I made it simple enough for a crayon eating Marine to read. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, you got no excuses at this point. Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to mention my other projects that I linked to this. The cookbook, and again, it's easy enough to read for a crayon eating Marine to read and use. I made it that damn simple. I'm making it that damn simple, and I'm going to get a chef to help me write it to class it up from prison comfort food to gourmet 5-star gourmet shit. You know, I'm doing what I will simply refer to as a hybrid brick oven smoker that I got. One of my guys from Baghdad that I served with, that's in the book, is helping me because he's an engineer, design it to where we can take it. I can take it to a fabricator and build a prototype. We're building we're about to be into the prototype building stage here pretty soon, hopefully by Thanksgiving. I'm doing those two things, and I'm also going to do a writer's guide to help veterans and first responders and all that write their stories like I wrote mine.
That'd be cool.
And it's from a mindfulness standpoint. It's like ABS. You know, you build pressure, you hold, and then you degrade to avoid spinning out. I'm going to help you either avoid the writer's block or get through the writer's block to get because, okay, your brain is like an old school. You know what? I'll do you one better. Okay. This is an old as dirt scan tool. Okay. You got to get the information from your brain into the scan tool so somebody can use it, right? Well, my goal for the writer's guide is to make the content as raw and complete as possible from your brain to the scan tool, so you can use as much of it as possible. Because here's the thing: when I interviewed all my guys, they will tell you the same thing. I told them, when you interview somebody, you can not only not censor them, you have to actively discourage them from censoring themselves, to literally tell them you don't have any right to say what is or is not applicable, what does or does not apply as far as the story is concerned. I the editor, the author, and all that, and I'll have my editor help I decide that your only job is to barf up the entirety of your scarred veteran's soul, and I help you arrange what is it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to help the veteran do.
All right. No, we look forward to that. So let us know when you're done with that. But we got birthdays to go celebrate. So right, Chris, close us out. Yeah.
Dude, thank you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, Len, we love you. What's up, sports fans? Are you looking for a job? Do you want to change in careers? Do you want to own your own business? I got the answer for you.
This show is brought to you by FleetTex. FleetTex is partnering with veterans with mechanical or electronic experience. FleetTex specializes in on-site deployment of GPS tracking equipment and cameras for fleet vehicles across our nation. Check out what they do at www.fleettex.com. Apply today. Currently targeting veterans living in Michigan, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Tennessee. Local work and travel opportunities may be available in other areas. FleetTex proudly supports our military, its service members, our veterans, and their families. Enjoy the show.